Right from the start yesterday, first drive, Tua takes a big hit and fumbles, but the Dolphins, led by their defense, bounce back and win 28-17. Tua passing for less than 100 yards in his first start afterwards. He talked about it.
That was a good hit. It's football. Try to step up, make a throw. Aaron Donald, swiped at the ball behind me, and I don't know who the guy was that took me off my feet and pretty much body slammed me, but hey, that's football. And I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy getting hit that first time. That was definitely a welcome.
Likeable guy. Max, were you impressed with Tua's starting debut?
Very impressed with his starting debut, and I actually believe him when he said he liked that first hit. You want to get your feet wet? You want to see what it's like in the league and all that? Like, you wouldn't make it in professional football. Well, Tua Tagovailoa looks like he will. I was very impressed with the start. Why? Let's forget about can you be accurate and all this kind of stuff. We expect Tua to be an accurate quarterback. After a long time since playing in a football game, coming off of surgery, in your first NFL action against, you could argue, the greatest defensive player of all time, because he's in the argument. I like Lawrence Taylor, Deion Sanders, J.J. Watt. Aaron Donald is in the conversation. Reggie White, Bruce Smith. Aaron Donald will be remembered alongside those guys, and he's in his prime. And Stephen A., you and others were like, why would you start this kid coming off a surgery when you have, like, can he stay healthy kind of issues? Undersized quarterback against Aaron freaking Donald. And on the first play of the game, Donald comes up the middle. Tua gets body slammed and strip sack. How does he respond? He throws a strike to Devontae Parker with no separation. You saw it all over SportsCenter today, right? The littlest separation in the NFL since forever. A bullet strike pass. Now, he winds up with 1 touchdown, no interceptions, under 100 yards. I get that because, look, he hadn't played in a long time. He overthrew some receivers early on. I get it. And then it wasn't the kind of offense where he really needed to show off afterward. But could he game manage? Could he ride a good defense to a win against a good team? Guys, more than any X's and O's stuff, why start him against Aaron Donald? Because you want to see how he responds. And it couldn't have worked out any better. First play, he gets done like that. Comes back to throw a touchdown pass and win the game. I've seen what I needed to see in that respect, and I believe that's why they started him against the Rams. Yes, I was very impressed.
Well, clearly you didn't watch the game. Max Kellerman, that might have been one of the most awful games Jared Goff ever played. He looked like straight. He was that bad, okay? And remember, give props. When I come in giving props to Brian Flores, this, again, was the defensive coordinator, if I remember correctly, and coaching linebackers for the New England Patriots in 2018 when the Rams were held to like 3 points in the Super Bowl by the New England Patriots, because Brian Flores, that's what he was doing. He was dropping defensive linemen back in the coverage. He was blitzing from the outside, from your back seven. He was they completely confused Jared Goff, and he looked as lost as I have ever seen him. 4 turnovers in the first half. He looked like a deer in headlights. He almost looked as bad as Ben DiNucci at times. I mean, it was that bad for Jared Goff, okay? And it made no sense that Sean McVay continued to have this man dropping back to pass in the first half. I think it was like 24 or 25 times when you consider the fact that they was averaging damn near 6 yards a carry rushing the football against Miami's defense. So I look at it and I say, my God, you got a 28-10 lead in the first half, and you got a grand total of 56 yards total in offense. Miami Dolphins didn't have to do anything offensively. They scored on defense. They scored on their special teams. Obviously, Tua threw a touchdown pass and deserves some credit for that. He fumbled when Donald and Brockers just collapsed on him in his first pass attempt. But other than that, okay, he didn't make any other turnovers. In the end, what it comes down to is he hasn't shown us much. And I'll tell you this, fair or unfair, Max, we're going to judge him according to what we see from Justin Herbert too. Because there was so much noise
and
coming into the draft. There was so I'm just saying, but Joe Burrow's #1 overall, and we understand that even though if Tua had never gotten hurt, he might have been that guy. But we look at Joe Burrow, he's #1 overall. But Justin Herbert was there for the Miami Dolphins to take, if I remember correctly. And guess what? They wanted Tua. But I will tell you this. Tua is going to be judged because he's going to be compared to Herbert. Make no mistake about it. He didn't look that impressive to me. It's his first game. I'm not overreacting by any stretch of the imagination. I personally would have preferred to see Ryan Fitzpatrick still in there because of the way that he's been playing and the way Brian Flores has that defense playing. But the truth of the matter is, Tua did not look impressive at all. There was nothing good to take away from Tua in that performance. Nothing to excoriate him for,
right.
But there was nothing to brag about
but
either.
Stephen A. I mean, I know you may want to see Ryan Fitzpatrick, in there because they have a chance to win the division, possibly make the playoffs if he's the starting quarterback for the remainder of the season. Now, as crazy as this may sound, the priority for the Miami Dolphins organization this season is basically to see if Tua can do it. Now, I want to take this opportunity, we'll get to that a little bit more, but I want to thank you so much. During the Super Bowl this year, you showed me and Jeff, we are the Sports Brothers, a lot of love during the Super Bowl. So thank you so much, and check us out on 100 Hip Hop and R&B FM on the iHeartRadio app. Yeah, we're getting our gratuitous plugs in right now. So thank you so much for that. Now, with that being said, the most important thing for the Dolphins to do this year is to return to relevancy and to find out if Tua is their franchise quarterback. Now, I don't hear people talking about the schedule change or the Miami Dolphins bye being moved up. That is probably the main reason why Tua is starting in front of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, what you have to remember is the Dolphins have 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s in next year's upcoming draft, right? They have to figure out whether Tua can do it. And I trust Chris Greer and of course, Brian Flores. And if you're a player that's not down with the game plan, they will get rid of you. Just check out what happened to Laramie Tunsil. Check out what happened to Mika Fitzpatrick. Now, it'd be great if they bought into the program along with Kenyon Drake. If he bought into the program, what kind of team would this be? But the Dolphins are ready. Now, the thing that comes down to Ryan Fitzpatrick, in a couple of these games, to you, yes, he's been playing great. But I've had a chance to see him in the fourth quarter of some games. The San Francisco game, he didn't move the offensive that much. He had to sit back and settle for field goals. Yes, he had 1 touchdown. Against the Jets, they had a 21-point lead. They had drives that started in Jets territory, and Ryan Fitzpatrick threw interceptions, and the Dolphins only managed to score 3 points. So when you're looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point, right? 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and those interceptions came against good defenses. All right? Through 6 games, he has 1,535 yards, 7 touchdowns, and the interceptions. The interceptions is what concerns me.
They're not going to do anything in the playoffs with Fitzpatrick if you leave him in. And Fitzpatrick is just good enough to be dangerous to a franchise like Miami. That's why it took guts and foresight for them to say, yeah, you might be the better quarterback at the moment, but we still got to bench you. Like, it's the danger is that Fitzpatrick plays well enough to get you there because you ain't winning the Super Bowl with him. And guys, we know that.
Right.
And again, you guys are judging him X's and O's. Even look at Herbert, who's been outstanding. He's showing you why 2 years ago people were saying, hey, should teams tank for Herbert, right? And Joe Burrow, who's also been eye-opening. Like, boy, these guys can play, right? Tua hasn't played in a long time. Tua's coming off of hip surgery. It's a completely different situation. Yes, Stephen A., you're absolutely right. He will be compared to those guys, both Burrow and especially Herbert, maybe because he could have been had a little bit later on. But this is his first NFL action and first football action in forever. You've got to give him 3 or 4 games.
But Max, you're saying that you're impressed with him. I'm a fan of the Dolphins, and I wasn't impressed with Tua's performance.
Because the number one thing that I wanted to see, and I think it's the reason they started him against the Rams, was how would he respond to it?
Yeah, but Max, do you know the saying that you play to win the game, right? Well, the Dolphins, they're in a situation where they have to play Tua to see if he can win the game. Now, Brian Flores elects to play him against the Rams. It's not pretty, but they win the game. Now the Dolphins are 4-3. Look at their upcoming schedule. Tua has played against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Their next few games coming up are against the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Jets. These are defenses you are not afraid of, and you got to get them ready before the last quarter when you have to play the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Patriots, and the Bills.
And we didn't ask, Max, we didn't ask for you to resemble Dear Abby and wrap your proverbial arms around Tua and say it's going to be okay. You'll be fine in 2 or 3 weeks. We're only talking about yesterday. And yesterday, Max, let me throw this at you, okay? Let me just throw this at you. You got the Rams, they had 31 first downs. Miami, 8. The Rams had 131 yards rushing. Miami, 55. The Rams had 471 yards total. The Dolphins had 145. 340 net passing yards. The Rams had 90. You can make a legitimate argument that yesterday, all right, no big deal. Next week, the week after that, it'll be fine. But yesterday's game, the offense for the Miami Dolphins literally did nothing.
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 Well, no, he threw the touchdown pass that I referred to, and he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw an interception, by the way. But when you say, "Oh, dear Abby," in a full contact sport, Stephen A., and you know this, covering football now as long as you have in this show, and obviously you're a big boxing fan, you've been around the game. In a full contact, violent sport, stuff like you are facing Aaron Donald. You're a rookie. You're coming off surgery. You get body slammed and strip sacked the first time you touch the ball. How do you respond? Like, I understand in college, that's one thing. But how do you respond as a pro is very important. And I thought that's why they were going to start him against the Rams. I didn't expect him to put up big numbers. I thought they wanted to see how he would respond. His team won. His team won the game.
And all I'm saying is 2-3 weeks from now, come to me with that. But yesterday, no. He survived.
He survived.
He lived.
Won?
He won.